To another edition of Yoga with Anne. I'm so happy that you're joining me today. I'm excited to teach this class as we are doing restorative yoga. So typically my more active classes are hatha yoga or maybe more of a gentle yoga. And then I also teach restorative yoga, which I love to practice. Goes with our theme this month of quiet and stillness. So we all need to rest, we all need to relax, and we don't do it enough. So this is a good reminder to do that. So if you know Shavasana, that's the idea of Shavasana. So for this class, I'm going to teach 3 poses. We'll hold them for a while. That's the idea, that you get comfortable, you get cozy, that you allow your body to relax, and then hopefully your mind, your heart, your breath, all of that will slow down, will come to calm, quiet, and stillness. You might not feel that way when you're practicing, and that's okay. You're still doing good things for all of those parts of your body, internally, externally. Sometimes our monkey minds are just going crazy, especially this time of year. So be kind to yourself. Practicing restorative yoga is a very great way to practice self-love, self-compassion, self-care. So you don't even have to have a yoga mat, but I do have my yoga mat out, and I actually have doubled my yoga mats. I have 2 mats on top, one on top of the other. So it's a little bit squishy, so that makes it more comfortable. If you have a blanket or a towel that is not bumpy, so you don't want like a really bulky blanket, you can put that on top of your mat to make it more comfortable. Also, depending on what your floor is like, that can help to keep you warm. So when you practice restorative yoga, your body temperature can drop. Mine does. I get cold pretty quickly. So that's why I'm wearing a sweatshirt. I've got sweatpants on. I even have socks on. So you might want to make sure that you stay warm, because you can't relax if you are cold. So maybe you want to turn up the heat. Maybe you want to get some extra blankets. So to cover you up, you can use any kind of blanket you want. I'm just using my yoga blankets today because that's what I have in this room, and it will work for me. But if you have a big bulky blanket, fleece blanket that you want to use to cover up, please use that. Grab that, get that for sure. So props that we're going to use today, if you have yoga props, I would suggest at least 2 blankets. You can have more, so if you want one to go on top of your mat, if you want one to go under your head, and then one to cover up. So that's kind of where I'm thinking the amount of blankets that you might want to use for class. If you happen to have a bolster, it can be a round bolster, a flat bolster. I have both, but I've been using my flat bolster preferably for actually many years. So a bolster, and then if you happen to have an eye pillow, they're great. They help us to block out any light, to help us relax. When we put them on, we'll put most of the whatever that stuff is in there on our forehead, and then cover our eyes. So it'll actually press down the skin on your forehead a little bit, and that's a sign, a message to your nervous system that it's time to relax. And so that's good to tell our nervous system in many ways that it's time to relax. Okay, you don't have any yoga props, no big deal. So I suggested maybe a blanket to go on top of your mat if you'd like. That's, optional. You can use a beach towel or a bath towel. That can be the blanket that we'll use like for under our head. So it needs to fold, it needs to roll easily and nicely. So no bulky for that. And then of course you could just have a bulky blanket, a fleece blanket, whatnot, to cover your body. You can use pillows from your bed, pillows from your couch, anything like that will work as a bolster. You could also stack a lot of blankets, but pillows work really well as well. We've got that. And then you don't have an eye pillow, so a washcloth will work, right? There's not the weight. Some of my students sometimes actually like the eye mask that they wear to sleep. They'll use that, and that will work as well. But mostly it's about covering, to keep it dark. So that's one of the things about practicing restorative yoga. It should be warm, it should be comfortable, it should be dark, it should be quiet. We do our best for those things, right? We live in the world that we live in. I have a dog who might want to try to break into the room. I have a husband who lives here. You have members of your family, whoever they might be, possibly roommates, noises outside, it's life. So we just do our best, right? Okay, so let's get ready to get started. So if you need to go get props, you can pause the video and meet me back on the mat. So I am going to use my yoga props for these poses. Excuse me, getting over a little something. But you know that a bolster can be a pillow, a blanket under your head can be a towel, an eye pillow can be a washcloth. So, and typically, so I usually wear contacts, but I'm wearing my glasses, and I like to wear glasses when I practice restorative yoga. So once I get in the pose, I take my glasses off. So if you want to do that, if you're someone who maybe would fall asleep, a lot of times I fall asleep in the poses. I won't fall asleep today because I'm teaching, but when I practice on my own or in a class, I regularly fall asleep in the poses. So falling asleep with contacts in is not the best. And sometimes I worry about it. And so then I don't have to worry about it. I just make sure that I have something nearby that I can set my glasses on. So that was much more important when we did yoga in person. And I know some people are doing yoga in person. I pretty much do it via Zoom or YouTube. I do teach a family. I do private sessions, and they wear glasses, and if they take them off, I remind them to put them up on something so I don't step on them. But you may need to get up at some point and you don't want to step on your glasses, so it's always a good idea to have something. And what I usually use is the yoga block that I'm sitting on, so I'll have that near my mat. And so typically I put my glasses on setting up poses so that I can see, especially if I'm being taught the poses, and then I take them off for the actual pose. So I'm going to move back to my mat. I have my props nearby. So the first pose we're going to do is a heart opener, which if you did part of the October challenge, that was a challenge for the month of October, to practice a heart opener as many times as we could in the month of October. So depending on what you're using, so this is where we want to use something that folds or rolls easily and nicely. So a towel, a bath towel, a beach towel, some sort of blanket that's not, bulky and bumpy will work. And I know that everybody, what you're using is going to be different sizes and shapes and whatnot. So I'm basically going to come to this size. So you just do your best with that, whatever you're using. And then I'm going to make a roll from the long end. And everybody's different. You might only roll it part way and then have a little bit for under your head. So you might have to test that out and see what's best. So this is we're gonna lie across this, the lower tips of our shoulder blades, which is basically where a bra strap would go, if you know where a bra strap would go. We're thinking about kind of that same spot where our armpits are. So that's where we want to rest on this roll. Some people having their head back, this isn't very high, but having their head back can be too much. So that's where you could use your pillow, or if you have another towel or blanket. I don't need one, but you could have one. And it doesn't have to be very high either. Maybe it's a little lower. So, eye pillow nearby, another blanket to cover up. I won't cover up in the poses so that you can still see me, but that might be, excuse me, something that you would like. So have that stuff nearby. And I'm going to come to lie down. I'm going to have my block nearby. I just don't want it in the way of the camera. So that didn't help, did it? There we go. Okay, so I'm going to come into what's called constructive rest. Knees bent, feet on the mat. Trying to get the lower tips of my shoulder blades onto the roll. So your arms should easily come above the roll. That doesn't mean that they have to stay there. They can come back down, or sometimes I like to have them right on the roll and my hands on my chest, so you can decide. And then you come back. So if you find that this is not going to work for you, then you can have something under your head. And normally it's fine, but I think because I'm still a little congested, I'm actually going to put a little support under my head so I'm not so far back. And then since I'm coming down, I'll take my glasses off and putting them on top of my block. And I've got my eye pillow on my belly so that I can come on down. So I'm situating, and I'm going to take my eye pillow, so it could be your washcloth, and I get most of that stuff at the bottom of the bag, or the top. I guess it's really the top. And that part's going to go on my forehead. And then you don't want a whole lot of weight on your eyeballs. And just have your arms go wherever is comfortable for you. I like to have my feet as wide as my mat, my knees come together. That's most comfortable. You decide what's best for you. And I think today I have my hands on my chest. And we're going to stay here for about 5 minutes. If you need to come out earlier than I ask you to, then please do. You can roll over to your side and come up and just have a quiet seat. We are bringing ourselves into a vulnerable position. Our hearts are vulnerable physically, and that might feel so emotionally. Be mindful of that. Weight, even just your hands, can be helpful. presence back to your breath, back to your body. And if it would feel good, take in a full deep inhale and release that exhale with a sigh. Let's come back to constructive rest with the legs so the feet are about hip distance apart, feet are on the mat, knees are bent. Let's roll off of our roll over to one side. So it's okay, just kind of roll on over. Keep your head down. Your washcloth or eye pillow go off to the side. And let's use the strength of our hands and arms to press up. So your head's going to come up last. So just kind of let it hang as you come on up. Nice and relaxed. All right, let me get my glasses so that I can see a few things. So that we kind of opened our heart. That feels really good. I was doing a lot of stuff today, probably more than I should have, but cleaning and laundering and whatnot, and after a while that hurts my back, and I was like, I really need to do the heart opener before I teach this class. And then I remembered, oh yeah, I'm going to teach the heart opener. So that's one of my favorites. I love that pose. So the next pose we're going to do, I call it hug a bolster. So it can be hug a bolster, hug a pillow, hug some blankets, whatever works for you. So I'm going to set one of my blankets off to the side, and I'm going to use my bolster. But the nice thing with the pillows is, excuse me, so I'm going to keep a blanket for my head. And the eye pillow doesn't work great for this one. It depends. I'm going to show you two ways to do this. You can hug a bolster, or you can kind of come into a twist. And so if you come into the twist, your torso is going to be a little more flat, and so the eye pillow or washcloth will work better. But if you're going to stay on your side, it won't work as much. I'm not sure what I'm going to do yet, but I'm going to show you both. So that's going to support your head if you'd like that. So let's move one of these. I'll use the bolster and a pillow. So hug a bolster. So you come over onto your side, right? So you could come from constructive rest if you want, and then roll over to one side. It doesn't matter which side. We're going to do both. So you're kind of in the fetal position. So I'm going to take my bolster and I'm going to put it between my feet, my knees, and my legs. And that might be fine. Or I could also take my pillow and kind of hug it, right? So my upper body, my lower body. So you could do one or both, up to you. So this is hug a bolster. We'd stay here. If you want to come more into the twist, I'm going to move this. You'll open on up into the twist. And your back arm just comes wherever it wants to. It could even stay on your chest or your hip or whatnot. So this is more of a twist. The body's coming into a twist. And this is more closed up. So, excuse me, depending on what works for you today, I think lying on your back when you have congestion or whatever, sometimes will trigger a cough, right? So you might find that it's better for you to be on your side. So I think I'm going to stay with the hug a bolster. Cover yourself up. And just hold, you don't want to hold on. So just let your body relax. And just be. Remember to honor your body, no matter what, even with restorative yoga. Do what feels right for you. Come out early. Adjust, modify, adapt for you, for today, for this practice. Once again, come back to your breath. So if deepening your breath feels good for you, it doesn't for everybody. So maybe you just come back to noticing your inhales and exhales. So I'm going to move my pillow out of the way. So, excuse me, if you're in the twist, roll back into your fetal position. And then again, we'll use the strength of our hands and arms. Let your head hang and come on up into a seat just for a moment. We're going to switch sides. So you're welcome to just flip the other way. I'm going to stay facing toward the camera. So I'm going to move everything to the other side of my yoga mat. There's no real graceful way to do it. So it is what it is. And I realized once we were in the pose, we were already quiet for a little while, so I didn't want to start talking. Sideways, it's a little hard when you're lying on your side. It's a little hard to have the eye pillow, but I realized you could use the washcloth. So I'm going to use that for the second side. So coming onto your side, fetal position, and then using whatever props you'd like. Pillows, bolster, upper body, lower body, one or both. Or, you don't even have to have support. You could do without. It's much more comfy with it. If you want to come into the twist, you probably don't need anything with the upper body, and you just open on up. And allow your arm and shoulder to be wherever they are. And each side is different. The first side, my shoulder and arm don't go in the same position as they do on this side. And then I'm just going to, as I lie down, I'm just going to kind of cover my eyes with the washcloth. Get comfy and then settle into the pose. Perhaps cover yourself with a blanket. Come back to your breath. You're in your twist, you can come back into a fetal position. You're more in that hugging position. Maybe you move something out of the way. Push your hands and arms to push you on up. Move our stuff out of the way. It's nice to pause between the poses. Okay, so we are going to set up for Shavasana, our final pose. And the December exploration that I'm doing is I'm just calling it finding stillness and calmness or quiet, something like that, all of those things. And so it could be any of the poses that we're doing today. When I taught the class and recorded it, I just did constructive rest and lie down on my mat. It could be a seated position. So all of those can be restful, can be connecting to your breath, to your body, to your mind, to your heart. So really you have to find what works best for you. But also they can be any of the things that we're doing today or other tools that you have. You're welcome to do that. So I'm going to use my bolster to go under my knees. You could do constructive rest just with your knees bent and your feet on your mat. We're going to do this for about 5 minutes. So if you want to do longer, you're welcome to pause, set the timer on your phone or whatnot and practice the pose a little longer. With any of these poses, you're always welcome to do that. I was trying to see if I could use all of the things that I have, but I don't think I'm going to go over the top. But like a pillow could work for your feet if you wanted to have a little support on your feet, which maybe I'll do that. So this will go under my knees. And then it can be nice, you could roll a blanket or a towel or whatnot and have that right under your ankles so that they're not digging into the mat. So that might be something you want to try. And again, I would cover up if I were taking class. And then I am going to use my eye pillow here. So you could use your washcloth or whatnot. I'm going to take my glasses off now. Actually, I'm going to take a sip of water first just to help kind of clear what I have going on. And if I start to get coffee, I'll roll over to the side. I may even sit up. We'll just see. All right. So make sure that my knees are supported. Ooh, this is kind of nice. I don't think I've ever done this with my my feet on a pillow. I've done like a rolled towel or blanket. I usually like adjust my clothes so I don't have any wrinkles. Excuse me. And again, you could have weight on yourself. Maybe you take that other pillow and you put it on your torso, on your chest. I'm gonna take my eye pillow, put most of the weight on my forehead, arms wherever is comfortable, and just kind of let yourself go. So if your legs go off to the side, as if your body is heavy and melting into your mat. Bring your presence back to your body, to your breath. It feels good to deepen your breath, deepen. And start to make little movements, fingers and toes. Maybe you stretch or wiggle. Yawn. To bend my knees and bring my feet to my bolster, my mat, and then hug in. Maybe a little rocking here. Side to side. Roll over to one of your sides. You let your eye pillow or washcloth fall. And again, we're going to let our head hang, press our hands into our mat, bringing ourselves back into a seated position. And we're going to find a comfortable seat. So you could sit on your bolster, on your pillow, on a blanket. Most of us can benefit from support. So I'm actually going to sit on my block. That's the best way for me to sit. I sit in a pose called Virasana, hero pose, and it's not great for everybody if you have knee or ankle issues or just can't possibly sit like this. So this is just best for me. So it helps me to sit tall and long. I'm a sloucher, I'm a schlumper, and so this helps me to be more upright, to actually be able to sit and feel comfortable and not feel the need to hunch forward. So that's just how I sit. Does not mean you have to sit that way or even try it. We'll just take a moment here to reflect, to feel our breath, to feel our body. And, some things might have been inside that you are feeling, experiencing, and that's okay. It might be a lot, so be kind to yourself, right? Sometimes after I practice restorative yoga, I may be upset, I may be angry, and those things were already there. The restorative yoga didn't do it. It gave you that vehicle to feel that. And that's a good thing. We need to feel those things, right? So wherever you are with that, be kind to yourself the rest of today and every day. Let's bring our hands together at heart center, what's called Anjali Mudra. So this seals our practice together. Your eyes can be open, closed, soft gaze. Keep peace in your mind, keep strength in your body, and keep love in your heart. From my heart to yours, I bow to you. Thank you so much for practicing with me today. I appreciate you being here, for taking care of yourself. If you have any questions or comments, you're welcome to comment below, or you can contact me via email or social media. I'll have all that information below in the description. I hope you have a great rest of your year, depending on when you're taking this class, right? Maybe you're taking like July of 2023 or something. But I did record this in December of 2022 to end our year with more of a quiet practice. I had been trying to do a class a month for my YouTube channel since I think July. And I'm not sure how often I'm going to be able to continue doing that because I do now have a full-time job that is not flexible like the job I had before. So when I have the time and energy, I'll probably record something. I hope to do one a quarter in 2023, but I just don't know, right? I don't know how things are going to work out, how my time is going to be, how I'm going to feel. I know once I get more in the groove with the job, I won't be as tired, I won't feel as overwhelmed. But, when you start a new job, there's so many new things to learn and figure out and all that. And luckily, I have a really supportive team. I have a great person training me who used to do the job, who's still there, who has created all these amazing manuals. So I know I will be successful, but it still takes a lot of time and energy, right? And I love doing these, but they also take time and energy. So I appreciate you being here, and I hope you have good holidays, whatever you might celebrate. And hopefully I'll see you sometime in the new year, whatever year that might be, right? So thanks for being here, and I'll practice with you again soon.